into account only
You
regular
really
fixed
see it
wing
on this
aircraft
graph and you're
capacity,
like,
air and sea
wow.
superiority, combined with excellent transportation capability.
The surrounding areas of the US, that it's like so perfectly like...
Yes. An important part, like having really friendly neighbors.
Yeah.
Because like, look at us.
Hi! My name is Sienna and I'm from Korea.
And I'm Seong and I'm from Korea too.
Today, in this video, we're gonna be reacting to how powerful the US Army is.
Wow! Was that so fake? Sorry.
Can we please keep that in?
They're strong.
I was just gonna say.
They're very strong, hot. Well, they're hot.
The men in uniform?
Yeah.
Or?
And they get treated very well with the citizens.
Very powerful, very respected. Well, it's mandatory, right? So you have to go.
They keep us safe. There's not that many countries that every man needs to go to the army and who can actually use the gun, like learn to use guns.
Yeah, I feel like they're putting their lives at risk. There's still a lot of, even though there's no like war happening right now, we're still, you know, in war. So I feel like a lot of the men, they go and they put their lives at risk for our country, so.
Of course, the US.
Yeah, I think the US.
No wonder you call like the US.
They got the money, the power. Yes, oh, I think I heard this. My fiance is really into like, because he actually wanted to be enlisted. Like he wanted to volunteer.
Really?
He learned a lot and he told me, but you know, sometimes like they yap and then it goes into the other.
You're not that interested.
I am interested, but like it's like a whole other world that I don't know.
Why are they the most powerful? I think it's because of the money that they put into the resources too, and they do have a big land.
Why is the US military the strongest? But what makes it so powerful? Will its power remain undisputed? Are there already signs of weakness? Would it really stand in a conflict with potential rivals like China or Russia? To find out, we should analyse why exactly the US military is considered the strongest.
I feel like I'm in the classroom.
I know.
The numbers. The US has 1,400,000 active military personnel. This figure places it in third place in this category. China has the largest army with slightly above 2 million soldiers, while India comes in second place. This doesn't sound that impressive, but what makes the US military stand out is not necessarily the raw number of men. The US has unquestionable air supremacy. The US military is number one in air power, with 13,264 total military aircraft.
Oh, Korea.
A total that is greater than the other five greatest air forces combined. 2,085 are air-to-air fighters, 715 ground attack aircraft, 945 transportation aircraft, 5,768 helicopters, and 967 attack helicopters.
It's too much.
The US is number one in each aircraft category, except for air-to-ground forces, where it's slightly topped by Russia. The US has a powerful navy that is designed to work in conjunction with its air forces. It has 20 aircraft carriers, 11 are regular fixed-wing carriers, while 9 are capable of hosting only helicopters and short takeoff planes like the F-35B. This is almost half of the world's total number of aircraft carriers, while most of the others belong to allied countries. If we take into account only regular fixed-wing
on this graph and
capacity,
you're like,
the total combined deck space of the US aircraft carriers is over twice that of all the other nations combined.
wow.
To complement this, the US Navy has the greatest number of destroyers and ranks third in the number of submarines.
Submarines too.
Oh, North Korea's first.
The numbers of the US naval strength are a bit tricky. If we count the total number of naval assets, the US falls in fourth place, behind Russia and China, and even behind North Korea, that boasts a surprising first place.
They just counted the old ones.
However, in case of a maritime conflict, it would still be hard to counter the power of the US Navy, supported by overwhelming air supremacy.
Right, they got the
and allied
Navy and then they
forces.
got the air.
And the teamwork.
Yeah.
Land power. The US
And the
is
land
slightly
too?
behind Russia regarding raw numbers. American ground forces number 6,289 tanks, 39,000 armoured vehicles, 1,465
It's kind of scary looking at this.
I feel like
the war is gonna begin watching this.
1,366 rocket projectors. However, Russia has a lot of outdated vehicles with questionable performance in case
That's
of
for
real
North Korea
conflict.
too, right?
Meanwhile, the US military has a broad technological edge. The US has 5,800 nuclear warheads that make it the world's second largest in nuclear war power. In this
Who's the
video,
first?
we're analysing the conventional military strength, but it can't be denied that a nuclear arsenal does bring a certain status. Even if things don't escalate to a full-blown nuclear war, it's intimidating to any country to be armoured with such nuclear power.
It's scary because
Like they're ready for a war.
yeah,
And not only the US, but every country is kind of preparing for it. It's kind of scary.
because you hear about it and then you actually see it happening, and it's like, because I'm not from the US, so I feel like it scares me even more to watch these videos. So it's like I could very well be like on the other side of that, where it's like being aimed at us.
True, true. If I was an American right now, then I would be scared, but kind of safe at the same time, because they have like the number
Oh
one
yeah.
power.
Yeah.
The quality.
What if there wasn't a
The
country
US
like
Army
America,
consists
like the
entirely of
US?
trained professionals, and many have real combat experience. Since the beginning of this century, the US has been involved in military conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia, Libya, Uganda, and Yemen. While other countries still rely on conscripts to fill the numbers, the US can field an army of well-trained, experienced professionals. The equipment, the military assets, and the technology used in combat have excellent quality. This is the defining reason why US casualties are usually fewer than those of their adversaries. A strong ability to project power is another defining trait of the United States military. Size, technology, and experience are nothing if you can't reach the enemy. Power projection is the ability of a state to deploy and sustain forces outside its territory. Only a few states are capable to overcome the difficulties that involve power projection, and the US excels at it. This is made possible by several factors. The home base of the US is safe. The neighbouring countries are friendly. Potential enemies are far away. The large landmass makes it a country that is hard to invade. It also has coastlines along 2 oceans and strategic islands that hold military bases. The US forces can reach far, fast, and deploy great numbers of forces supported by the enforcement of air and sea superiority, combined with excellent
should move to the
transportation
US.
capabilities. Even if it doesn't engage
Yeah,
in combat, the US can enforce naval and air blockades that can severely cripple an enemy's economy. The US has by far the largest network of military bases operating outside of its territory. Information regarding the exact number and location of such bases involves classified information, so we can only estimate the total extent of the overseas military presence. Back in 2013, the Pentagon stated that there were around 600 military bases overseas. A rough estimate would be around 1,000 overseas US military compounds. Approximately 165,000 military personnel is stationed outside the United States. This doesn't include areas of conflict such as Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The US has significant forces deployed in around 55 countries and autonomous territories. It is also estimated that more than 150 countries have a certain degree of US military presence.
Wow. Isn't that the reason why foreigners used to live more in Itaewon?
There's like the base, military base.
Yes, it used to be in Itaewon.
Yeah,
It
right.
moved.
Alliances.
경건해진다.
The United States can rely on a vast network of alliances. It is the de facto leader of NATO, the world's strongest military alliance. 18 other countries are designated as major non-NATO allies. This list includes countries like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Thailand, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Egypt, Israel, Argentina, and Brazil.
It is worldwide.
Taiwan's status is a bit more complicated, and it can be considered a de facto ally. Some countries are not formal allies, but have a strong strategic partnership with the US. One notable example is India, that participates in regular military drills together with US forces and some of its allies.
Why am I so scared now?
With all these cameras. I didn't take into consideration the location or
Oh, true, me
the
too.
geography area, the surrounding areas of the US, that it's like so perfectly.
Yes, like 2 sides is the sea.
Yeah, and then you have the
Yes.
friendlier.
I think that's really an important part, like having really friendly neighbors.
Yeah.
Because like, look at us. Yeah, wow.
Modern warfare is sustained in the long term by two main factors: the capacity to produce military equipment and the capacity to spend money on defence. American defence companies are the indisputable top producers of weaponry. Among the world's top 10 defence suppliers, 5 of them are American companies. Lockheed Martin is the biggest. It reported a revenue of almost $60 billion US dollars in 2019. That's close to Russia's entire annual military spending. The strength of the US military is also due to its huge military budget. In 2019, spending on the US military was a whopping $732 billion US dollars. That's almost 3 times more than China, the world's second largest military spender, and is roughly 1/3 of the entire world's defense budget. While Russia is commonly regarded as the second most powerful army in the world, its budget consists of only $65 billion. Arguably, there is an aspect of purchasing power. For example, it's cheaper to pay a Russian or Chinese soldier, but the cost of high-quality military equipment is still the same around the world. The reason that the US can afford such an enormous military budget is that it's supported by a strong economy. America has been the world's largest economy since 1871. Its nominal GDP is currently 21.44 trillion US dollars. And it's backed with plenty of natural resources, advanced infrastructure and technology. Besides the ability to sustain an enormous defence budget, the US often uses its economic strength as a weapon by enforcing economic sanctions.
Tariffs. Korea is such a small country. Like every time I watch like videos related to the world or especially the US, I'm like, wow, we're like in such a small country.
Soft factors.
Yeah.
Soft power is another factor that comes into play when assessing a country's might. The US is world-beating in culture, education and technology.
True.
American pop culture has an enormous influence, and this won't change anytime soon. America also hosts most of the world's top-ranking universities with a record number of international students. The US leads the world of technology and digitalization as home to the world's most influential tech companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook. It's easy to think that this doesn't seem important in warfare.
Yeah.
But imagine an enemy soldier that would have to attack the country where his cousin studies, the country of his favourite music, the country of his favourite actors from the movie that he watches on an American media platform like YouTube, or an American smartphone with American software. Finally, there is another critical aspect. It is called the will to fight, and this is the single most important factor in war. The will to fight is the disposition to engage in combat, the determination to keep fighting even when facing precarious odds, and finally to win. At an individual level, a soldier with a low will to fight will avoid engagement with the enemy and is likely to flee when things get tough. A battle is won when the enemy's will to fight is broken. Wars don't end when one military destroys the other. Wars end when one side grows weary of fighting, doesn't see any further purpose in the continuation of the conflict, and gives up. The national will to fight is what keeps a nation fighting. This is commonly linked to a sense of patriotism, national identity, and motivation generated by the idea that one fights for what is right. In the past, this has been a strong point of the US, as Americans have been fighting against dictators and terrorists that lack concern for human life and dignity. In contrast, the USA has been regarded as a country that embodies values of freedom, democracy, and rule of law. It was the country that defined such values. Even more, it was the country that was willing to fight for these values. The American soldier has been motivated by a sense of moral supremacy rooted in the country's Christian tradition. However, America doesn't seem to be so cohesive in its values anymore. There are many factors intertwined that provoke this. It's a complex topic that deserves a study on its own. But the outcome is that America is now a country that is greatly divided among ideological lines and systems of belief. Many of its citizens are not sure what to believe in anymore, or even what they stand for. There have been many lessons in history. Small nations became great empires by holding high moral standards along with a disciplined and motivated army. A great empire's fall was usually preceded by internal strife and moral crisis. the final story of the United States of America as a global power is not yet written. The nation's strength rests upon its citizens and their decisions. It's a matter of this great nation getting back its cohesion and moral compass. That is, if it wants to keep its status as the world's greatest superpower and defender of freedom.
Yeah, I felt like
we're in class.
Yeah.
But it also feels so real because we're also in Korea, like directly impacted and affected by what's going on in the US.
True.
I think I agree with the last message of like, you know, there's a lot of internal conflict.
Yes, yes.
And people don't really, or like some people, they don't know what they're fighting for. They don't know if it's worth fighting for. And I feel like a lot of the young generation nowadays, it's like, we don't want like war. We just want peace. And there's a lot of internal conflict. And like, I feel like people were a lot more patriotic back then. That's why a lot of veterans, even to this day, get a lot of respect. But nowadays, I feel like people are just like so tired from like their day-to-day life, and the economy is bad. So watching the video, I'm like, wow, like there's such a great history of their rising economy and like all these big companies. But I see a lot of my friends in the US and they're like really struggling too, and like the homeless crisis as well. And I think worldwide, like the economy is pretty bad. So
it's hard to get jobs.
yeah, so it's really hard to be like patriotic and like fight for a country when like you yourself are struggling. And
but you have to keep in mind, like, to keep your country safe, you have to still be interested in these kind of stuff,
course.
right? If you want to keep your daily life safe.
yeah, for sure.
Well, if I was an American citizen, would you go to the army? Well, I've never thought of that because we're kind of used to the Korean army and how the Korean army gets paid. We're quite different, so I think I might.
I think I want to say that I would fight.
Yeah.
And I want to say
yeah,
like, I
wanna-
would protect
yeah.
my country. It's like watching like the freedom fighters
True.
in Korea.
Yeah.
Like when you learn in history class, like, oh, these people fought for our country. But really, like if it were to happen right now, it's
I'd be.
yeah, I would be
Yeah.
scared.
Me too. I want to say like, oh, I want to go. I want to volunteer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know too much.
Because you know, you're putting your life
yes.
at risk every single day. That's why they're very respected.
Yes.
I'm not athletic. That's what I want to say. I'm not athletic. I'm a scaredy cat.
Yes.
I think it depends on the person.
Well, volunteering to the army doesn't mean that you're gonna be right in front of the enemy, right? Then I would want to volunteer if there's any other jobs that I can do except for fighting, because I'm not sure if I would do a good job. But yeah, if there's other things that I can do, then I would be eager to volunteer. I would be proud.
Yeah.
If I was the US citizen, I would be really proud. The United States is my country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it keeps like not only the States, but other, like the world peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I was really surprised. I mean, I had some knowledge about this, but after actually watching the documentary and diving a little bit deeper into it, just how much power and resources that they have, not just, you know, in size, but, you know, they have a lot of like technological things that are very advanced in their land, naval and air as well. And it's very interesting that like economy and like even, you know, they mentioned like pop culture, like everything that we consume daily, it all ties into it. So I'm like, I learned a lot today. For
Very
sure.
educational.
Yeah.
Today we watched the video and learned how powerful the US military was.
If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe.
If there's any recommendations for us to react to, then please leave them in the comments.
See you next time. Bye!